Florida, they cut right in front of us and brake. In the middle of an intersection. Like the light was red and everything, and they stopped their car in the middle of an intersection with us right behind us. And Doug was the driver, and Spencer was the driver, you know, Doug, the guy I mentioned earlier. Luckily, you know, he was attentive to the situation and stand on. And so when that happened, I was like, shit, like, we must have done something. And when that happened, when that happened, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little scared. I thought they were gonna, you know, pull some shit. Because these kids get out of the car, they're looking all pissed, you know, pulling up their saggy ass pants. Because these kids hopping out of it. Because these kids just did this fucking. Because these kids just did that in the middle of an interview. Like, what are they gonna do next? Like, how they get out of the car, they're all pulling their saggy ass pants up. They get out of the car, they're all pulling their saggy ass pants up, walking over to us. And Doug the driver. And then after that happened, we were like, what the fuck? And then after that happened, we were like, okay, what the fuck? That was a little weird. And then after that happened, we were like, okay, like, what the fuck? And then after that happened, we were all just like, what the fuck? What the. And then after that happened, everyone in the car was just like, what the fuck is that? We were all freaking out. We were all like, what? We were all so confused, and like we were trying to figure out what the fuck, like, what just happened? What did we do? And like I said, this car is a white Ultima. So as we were driving, like, and like I said, this car is a white Ultima. So 5 minutes later, like 5 minutes after we just swerving, I see them pulling up like back behind us. And we were like, okay, what the, and we're like, okay, obviously these kids have a fucking problem. Like, they're following up. And then we're like, okay, obviously these kids have a fucking problem. And then after that, we're like, okay, obviously these kids got a problem. We might have to teach someone. And then after that, we're like, okay, obviously these kids got a problem. We don't know what's going on. Let's just try to. And these kids are continuing to drive like crazy, act like they're trying to like get up next. And these kids are, and as we're doing this, these kids are like continuing to drive. They were like, what the fuck? Why would you do this to you? And then Banks is like still trying to explain to them what we do, and you know how he like misunderstood them. And Banks is trying to explain to them, so Banks is trying to explain to them what we do. So Banks is trying to explain to them, and then we keep driving, and we're like, okay, and they're still following us, and they're still following us, and we're like, okay, we're not gonna go, and they're still following us, and we're like, all right, whatever, like if they're gonna try to do something, you know, and they're still following us, and we're like, okay, whatever, like let's just go home. If they're gonna follow us home and, you know, try to do something, then we'll just see what happens. Like, we'll just talk. And they were still following us, and we were like, all right, whatever, like let's just keep going home. Like if they follow us home and get out of the car, then we'll just have to do something. We're gonna have to beat some ass, man. We're gonna have to kick some ass, dude. Someone's gonna have to get their ass beat. We're like, alright, and we're like, oh, fuck yeah, and we're like, oh, fuck yeah, like and we're like, oh, and we're like, oh, and we're all hyped, and then we all got super hyped because we thought, we lost them, and then the next thing I see is these crazy motherfuckers, and they just fucking whipped it over that, like, not even like in the top of it, like where it's like not that big of a deal, down by the fucking dirt, like where the dirt is. They were about to hit the fucking exit sign, like the sign that said what. So we're like, oh my god, like these kids will fuck off. They keep following us. We can't. Banks rolls down his window. He starts talking to them again, you know, and then finally they like these Banks rolls down his window. He starts talking to them again, and then finally these fucking pussies. Banks rolls down his window. He starts talking to them again, and then finally these kids realize what we're trying to say to them.
Yeah, but I love it, and I love it so much. It's like all the yeah, but I love it, and I love it so much. It's like all the yeah, but I love it, and I love it so much. It's like all the yeah, but I love it, and I love it so much. It's like all the